Hey there, I'm Eric Keith with Blackstorm Design and Marketing. I was recently talking with a contractor and showing him the numbers of his lead flow and basically traffic coming into his site and then converting and going on and so forth, and how drastic the numbers were that we were just playing with. And they were fairly small numbers when we were talking about his website. But then when he was looking at the numbers he was looking at was obviously the end result, the amount of profit his company either was making or stood to make just by the minor numbers we were changing. And I thought that was a very important insight, that I need to create a video and show other contractors the same thing that we were basically talking about and the realization he had. And so I created a little presentation I've got here on my computer screen. So I'm going to switch the video over to that, and we're going to go over this slide that I have built right now. Computer screen, the presentation that I have created for this, and it is the importance of a high converting website. And let's go ahead without further ado and jump in here. The major differences with minor tweaks. One realization that some people don't realize, that you could have two different ads that's essentially this, they say the same words, right? You could have two different Facebook ads, but let's say that it has a different design, right? The image is different. Those two different ads are going to produce drastically different numbers. And maybe not so drastic, but they are going to produce different numbers. One will do better than the other. Same with Google ads. When we do search ads, no ads are exactly the same with the results, as long as they're not obviously exactly the same. With just minor tweaks with wording, with minor tweaks with design, you get drastic different results. Same with billboards, direct mail, websites, and that's what this presentation is going to cover. But let's say like billboards, and that's a big expense that you are throwing out there. That if you made maybe a few minor tweaks, it would have a drastic different result. And by the way, if you do plan on doing billboards, here's a little tip for you. You could throw all the different designs instead of, so something here in my agency, we'll have two different designs for something. And if it's a new employee, the ones that have been here for a while already know what I'm about to say. But if I'm presented with two different options and they ask me my opinion, I say, I don't know. I'm not the end user. So I may have my opinion, but my opinion isn't all-knowing, right? So what I do is say, put it to the test. Let's let the customers choose, the clients, the end users see which one is the best. So if let's say you have a graphic design artist that's showing you different designs for a billboard, and they ask you your opinion, instead of using your opinion, or let's say your wife or some coworkers, take those billboard designs and throw it in a Facebook ad campaign. Just send traffic to your website or something, but with the main goal of seeing which image draws the most attention. And Facebook ad campaign for images like the billboard would be one of the best uses to do cheaply, to be able to see which ad would actually perform the best and draw the most eyes. So if you planned on doing billboards, maybe in the near future or anytime in the future, keep that tip in mind, that you could use Facebook ads to do what I'm about to cover in this slide, A/B testing. So that's the whole idea, is we send, so we have software that we use. It's built into Facebook, it's built into Google, different ad platforms. This is already built into it, but on our websites, we throw in software to do this for us as well. So you send split traffic. So the traffic that you have coming in, let's say to your website, we'll use your website for example on this slide. So the traffic that comes into your website, we're going to split them in two separate groups. We're going to send one to one design and send another to another design. And you basically let that run till you have a predetermined number of traffic that you allowed through during your test. And at the end of the test, you look at the results. And in these results, the B test won, right? So we have two different tests. That's why it's called A/B test. A is your control. It's the one that you would normally always have. And B is your variant, your new challenger, if you will, to challenge the pre-existing design, right? And in this case, that challenger is actually the one that won. So in this case, that was a pretty big difference. We went from a 20% conversion to a 40% conversion on this example right here. I just stole this image from the internet, so we didn't have to design for this presentation. So these numbers, I don't know exactly what kind of landing page that they're using, but just hypothetically, that's how this works. Is you see which one is winning, and then we declare that one as the winner. So that means that would be our new design going forward. And then that becomes your control. So that would move over to the left. That would be in the A. And then you would constantly want to challenge that one over and over and over and over again. And ideally, you're not changing whole pages every time. We do like to start with whole pages at first. We start big. We test the big ideas, the big concepts first. And when we declare a winner there, then we drill down to the smaller elements and then small little elements inside the page. And we test those. So that is a brief synopsis of A/B testing. I hope that makes sense because it's going to be important for the rest of the presentation. So next we're going to talk about your website. Your website is the home base for all of your marketing efforts, right? So so let's use digital marketing for example. All your search engine traffic, you usually direct it to your website, even though it may go to your blog or, service pages on your website, it's still going to your website. So you need to make sure your website is built to convert traffic, all these traffic into leads. Your social media traffic, if you make a post of, let's say, an offer, you could have the offer page go to your website and then your website take it from there, right? If they go to your social media page and check your about page and, they're wanting to check more about your company, they would be directed to your website most likely. Same with directories. Some people, they may find you on the Maps app on their phone, and they may want to dig deeper and research more. And they go from the directory, and the directory then would direct them to your website. Same with traditional marketing. You see TV ads all the time telling them to go to whatever domain or website address to claim whatever offer. The phone book anymore, unless they're just straight up calling you, they may just go get your domain from the phone book. Same with the billboard. They may not call you right away, but if you have a catchy domain on the billboard, they may be able to remember that later and type that in, and they'd be directed to your website. And, I'm using the website very broad right now. You may have landing pages and all kinds of different, I mentioned blogs, but if you had the ability, it would all be wrapped up into your website, right? Same with direct mail to claim a special offer or anything. Next, let's move on to lead generation. The whole purpose of you to have a website is to make sure it is your lead generation machine, right? You direct all that traffic to your site in hopes that your website then turns that traffic into leads. For that to happen, for your website to be a lead generation machine, They need to know, like, and trust you. That's how you drive traffic to action, drive the traffic into being leads and contracting your company. Those people need to know, like, or trust you. So that means you need to, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm about to jump in to the next slide. I may actually do that. Let's go ahead and do that. For them to know, like, or trust you on your website, you need to have some of these high converting elements. You need to you need to convey trust on your website. One, your customer's perception is your reality, right? I use the example of taking kids into a grocery store and letting them pick out cereal. You could take them to some boring, bland cereal, let's say like Raisin Bran or whatnot, and have a very generic box, right? It has browns, no bright colors, but then you take them to another cereal box that they've never tried either one of these cereal boxes, but you present them another cereal box. One is bright, very professionally done. Images are just popping, right? Which do you think the kid's going to take? Of course, the one that has the better design, the one that they perceive is better, because they haven't tasted either one. They can't until they buy the box and choose the box, but they're using their perception to make the decision. That's the same thing with adults, and same thing with your customers when they're choosing two different contractors to do the work. They are looking at their perception, what they perceive to be a better contractor from the outside, from what they can see, right? So you need to convey trust. How you do that? You convey trust by showing different trust badges. So if you're a part of associations, you could throw up badges up there. Having a professional design, clean layout. So I also mentioned clarity down there. Images, having professional images. And also having images of people with the eyeballs looking back at them. There's been many studies that just having eyeballs looking back at you has a high conversion rate. Having your USPs, those are the reasons why, listing out the reasons why they should choose you over your competition. Having those listed out, having your strong CTAs, so that's your call to actions. Having them say, if you want this problem fixed, call now. If you want to save time, book online, right? So having a strong call to actions. Let me see if there's anything I didn't cover on the slide before. Vanity metrics. That's one thing most web designers try to cram down your throat. A lot of marketing agencies. To me, this is all vanity metrics. I don't like these. And I'm probably the only one that you'll hear in marketing tell you I don't like these. Bounce rate, page count, time on site. The only thing that matters to me, my background is in lead generation and getting paid per lead that I generated. So the only metric I care about is lead generation. Some of these may actually contribute to having a high lead generation conversion rate, but not necessarily. So that's why I call them vanity metrics. All right, so we just covered the high converting elements. Let's move on to the domino effect. So if you've gotten one of my books, Explode Your Roofing Business, I mentioned in there the domino effect, how one thing leads to another in your business. And I just cover the big what I call the big four dominoes in your business. And the big four would be your lead flow times your booking rate times your closing rate times your client lifetime value. And that equals your profit, right? So these were the numbers I was going over with that contractor when he realized how significant these little numbers in each one of these dominoes made a big number on the profit. That was the part he really cared about. And let's go over the lead flow. And so right before we dive into actual numbers, like what we went over with him, I just stole this from Alexa.com. And this is an image that they have lead generation conversion rates by industry. I wanted to get an image or a source outside of myself so it was more believable. You can go look this up yourself. I threw the link down here in the slide. But home improvement is this one right here. So they're showing you, most likely industry average right here is the average, and the above average would be up here, right? So we're going to use these numbers since this is home improvement. That's all we focus on in our marketing agency is home improvement contractors. So these are the numbers we are going to use in the next slides. Just so you know where I'm getting these numbers from, this is it. That's why I'm showing you this slide. All right, so we're going to just run some generic numbers over here. Let's see. Let me pull up another one of my slides. All right, so let's say we are driving targeted traffic to this website. Let's say we're driving 1,000 visitors a month to this website, and using the numbers that were in that slide, and I believe I have these numbers accurate, 3.3. So that's the number we're going to use, 3.3. So website traffic to lead conversion. So how many of these turn into actual leads that either call in or fill out a form to request your services on your website? Industry standard was 3.3%. All right, we're going to use the number of, I just threw in some very easy math, generic numbers here, booking rate. So this is what your CSRs, your secretary is able to convert those leads that come in, the names and numbers and contact info, to actual booked appointments, right? So that we're going to give it a very middle of the road, 50% there. You may do better, you may do worse, but this is just for example purposes. Closing rate. Again, I just threw a nice even round number in there. You may be 40%, you may be 60%, but we're going to use an average of 50, and I just threw a nice round number of 1,500 client value. And that would give us a monthly profit of around 12 grand, right? So if we use the very industry standard, we're only going to change the website conversion rate, right? So this website, they could have gotten a cheap website from, let's say, GoDaddy or Squarespace or Wix or Duda, and maybe a wife designed it, maybe a secretary did, maybe just an employee that is good on computers in your office was able to do it. Or let's go even further and say, let's say that a web design firm in town that does every kind of design possible. They do restaurants, they do car washes. I mean, they do all kinds of websites. Anything that anybody needs a website, they go to them. Maybe it was designed by one of them, right? So they're not industry experts to know what elements are needed to convert a lead into a home service job, right? So that's the difference I'm trying to point out here is if they haven't been doing A/B testing in this industry for a long time, they're not going to know the different elements that would automatically win or lose. We're presented elements in our agency from old designs, and we automatically already know, okay, that one's going to lose, that one's going to win, that one's going to lose, that one's going to win. Oh, we don't do that because that has a low conversion rate. This will hurt your conversions. This will help. This will hurt. We've done it over and over and over. So we know what will work in the home service industry. All right, so we're using the ratio that was on that slide before. We kept everything else the same. The website traffic is still 1,000. The booking rate is still 50%. The closing rate is still 50%. The client value is still $1,500. The only thing that we've changed is the website design. The website design, that is the only thing in the entire marketing campaign that we just changed. And that produced, we went from 12 grand a month to 55 grand a month. Do you think that is a big difference? Well, the difference is apparently 451% of growth, right? So you could literally be, let's say you're struggling or scraping by. Use your numbers in here. You're struggling, you're barely scraping by, you're barely making a profit, if a profit at all, or maybe you're even under. Literally, you can make this one change, even if it was, let's say you had to pay 10, 20 grand for a high converting website. Let's say you had to. Let's use the 20 grand example. If you had to pay 20 grand for a website one time up front, right then and there, would it be worth it? Well, in the very first month, I believe it would be worth it, right? So having a professionally designed website built for lead conversions, so converting website traffic into leads being the all-time high important metric, is a huge, huge value. This is a monthly growth, right? So imagine how drastic this was every month of how it could be over a year and the years to come, right? And constantly having an agency that constantly does A/B testing every month on different elements of your website. How would that be valuable? So that is the big number that I wanted to show you. When we talked about with this contractor, he was floored, and I thought, man, I just have to make a video talking about this. So the takeaway is find out your metrics. The only metrics that matter is your lead conversion ratio. Next, you could, just by these metrics, you can move from barely scraping by to thriving. If you are in this area that you think your lead conversion ratio is low and you don't have someone constantly doing A/B testing for you and your conversion ratio isn't high, you need to get a new design. You need to get a new design by an industry professional. You literally, in this industry, you get what you pay for. So like I mentioned, you could pay, let's say you paid $200, right, or $1,000 to get a website designed by Joe Blow in town, and they produced a good-looking site, but their conversion ratio, when you actually run the numbers, are pretty low, right? Compared to, let's say you paid, $1,000, you got this design, and you feel like you're doing pretty good because you are making a profit off it. But if you paid, let's say for that example, we paid 20 grand to get a much better converting website, it would produce its worth in it would produce way more. So you get what you pay for, and you need an agency that does A/B testing or doing A/B testing yourself. You need to have constant A/B testing going forward. So that is the big takeaway that I wanted to cover in this slide. So if you have any questions, reach out to us. We're willing to do a strategy session with you and run these numbers and inspect your website and show you and point out different areas that could be wrong on your site, and even give you tips and suggestions on improving the conversion rate on your website. So if you're interested, reach out, schedule a strategy session, and that's all I've got for you. Have a great day.